Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Mike's Mini Motors. So we got Brandon here again with me.
Hey guys.
And if you guys seen the last video, we just got done putting the ProBld 171cc big bore kits on these engines for our bikes. But before we want to put them back on our bikes, we are going to be installing the rear disc brakes for these guys.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we got more power over here, so we need better stopping power so we don't go into the back of cars, because that would suck.
Yes, it would not end well.
So basically we're going to show the tear down. We're going to obviously take the tire off. We're going to take the rear disc brakes or drum brakes off, and then we have to shave some parts off. We'll show everything in the video, as well as the installation of the kit that we both got, Mojo Customs kit. So it's once we get everything shaved down, we'll be able to roll right into getting the disc brakes installed. Yeah.
So before we actually get digging into any of the work, we'll go ahead and grab all the parts and show you guys everything that's involved in these kits and what they come with. Alright, so here are the two disc brake kits that Brandon and I both got. They're both Mojo custom kits, but I went with the black and red anodized one, and Brandon went with just the raw with the black rotor and black caliper.
Yep.
So you can see his is put together, but then this is the part. You can see it comes with the rear hub, the brake rotor, as well as the rotor bolts, your brake line, the caliper mount, and then the caliper itself. So it comes all disassembled like this here, but Brandon put that together just so you guys can see what it looks like put together.
Yeah, mine's a little different than Mike's too. I mean, he obviously has the Adeline. I ended up getting the RPM Racing caliper. There's still basically the same concept. I really wanted a black rotor, but when I ordered the part, Matt from Roland Ranch got a hold of me. He was actually out of the black, so he hooked me up with the RPM Racing one just so I can maintain the black caliper. So that's exactly what I wanted. So I got my some of my mounting stuff is actually a little different. I got some titanium mounting bolts and stuff like that.
And I just got the stainless.
Yep. So it's pretty cool. I like it. And then just one thing, I know it's not on actual brakes, but so one thing I ended up having to get was the spacers because I have the angled.
The conical.
Yeah. So I actually ended up picking up the spacers to make sure that it was sitting flush against my rim. So those of you that are in the market for updating all this, if you end up getting those, don't forget those spacers, or else it won't make good contact. It could come loose on you. So be very wary of that.
All right, so that's the parts. Let's go ahead and start getting our rims pulled off of these things. All right, so we got the wheel and the hub pulled off and everything, so now we can get our brake shoes off, and you can do those just by pulling them towards you. Just don't pinch yourself because they're spring-loaded. And then they're off. That's all it takes. So now with that off of there, we could start to try to slide the hub on, but if you look over at Brandon's bike for the different angle, you can see that the old brake lever here is in the way, as well as so is this. So we need to grind those down. Oh, disassemble this, grind that off, and then we can start to check clearances, and then we'll have to kind of trial and error check what still needs to be ground down, and back and forth. Alright, so we got the faces here ground down pretty well. There's no clearance issues. We put the hubs on like so, and then you can rotate it around, and there's no binding or hitting. And so make sure to do a complete 360 to make sure that nothing's on there. But one more thing that we are going to do just as a safety precaution, is the bolt that goes in here. I don't know if this is going to show or not. There's a tapered bolt, and it goes into this hole here, like that. But because this hole's a little smaller than this sits a little proud. Let me show you on Brandon's bike. We're just going to take the step drill bit and then just kind of give it a little bit more of a opening, so this will sit further in there. So here, let's show you Brandon's bike.
So as you can see, it sits out just a little bit. Now it does clear when you put the rotor on there, the hub. You can see how it gets in there nice and tight. But you can see in some cases it's really super close. You're talking about maybe 2 millimeters. So with what Mike's saying, if we hone that out a little bit to allow that to sit more flush, it takes any potential opportunity for that to hit at all. I mean, it's pretty well mounted in there, but it's just to be on the safe side. Plus, it'll fit in there better.
So he's just going to open this up a little bit more with the stepper just to get that head to sit flush.
A little bit.
A little more.
So now, so you can see it was hanging out before. Now we're just perfectly flush with that. So now we have nothing that's, no question that we're going to have anything in here to bind up or possibly cause any sort of contact with our brake rotor.
So now that we got that all good to go, we can bolt on the bracket here, mark our lower hole, and drill it out. All right, so now that we got this ground down and everything, and this is mounted, we can do the secondary hole for the caliper bracket. And the way you do it is once you get this lined up, like we get it most of the way tight, and you just, where it sits pretty much, like these are already contoured to fit this. So then you can go ahead and I'll have Brandon tighten this guy down. You want to go and do that real quick? Okay, so now that that's tightened down, I'm just gonna take one of my center punches and line it up in this hole here. And then we're gonna give it a whack. Are you ready?
Yep.
There, now our center hole is marked, and we can drill drill our hole to get the bottom mount done. So we'll pull this back off, get that drilled, and we'll be right back. All right, so now we got our hole drilled here, we can go ahead and fully install our caliper bracket. So you're gonna take the longer of the two bolts for the top one, and it's gonna go through this hole here.
Nut in a washer, and so then the front, the Allen key is a M5, and then the bolt on the back is a 13 millimeter.
And then the bottom bolt is the shorter of the two, and the taper goes on the back side, so it gets installed the opposite direction as the other bolt. And yeah, as Brandon said, it's an M5 Allen and a 13 millimeter wrench. All right, so now that we have the caliper bracket fully bolted on, we are ready to put the hub on. And if you haven't already, put your rotor on with the 3 bolts that come with it, and make sure to Loctite them because you don't want this to come undone. And then we went ahead and also put our wheel studs in the 4x110 pattern, and then Loctited those as well. And then, at least on our bikes, the nut holding these guys on is a 24 millimeter. So it's a pretty big one, so we gotta get the impact for it.
Very beefy. Again, GY6s have lots of vibration, so don't skip on the Loctite.
So yeah, this is just extra precautionary, because this is a Nylog nut we're putting on here, but better safe than sorry.
Don't want to lose that back tire going 40 miles, 50 miles an hour down the road. Or in our case, a little faster. And there you have it.
Okay, so now we got the hub, rotor, caliper bracket on there. Now we can actually install our calipers. So just use some supplied hardware that came with it, a little Loctite, and we'll screw these on here. Now that we got the hubs on there and tightened, we're good to go. We should be able to just spin the hub, and you're gonna have the brake pad riding it a little bit, but no binding, nothing. It moves smoothly, so we're good to go there. So one thing to do with these Adeline brakes, let me zoom in. The bleeder, at least on the brake calipers I've gotten, the bleeder is down on the bottom for my application, where we want it at the top. So there's one thing we got to switch real quick, which they're easy. It's just 8mm. Swap them out. Now this is going to be a bit different for Brandon's caliper though. So on Brandon's caliper, it's got the bleeder down here, but there's not an option to move it to the top. So what these guys came up with, or at least the hardware that we were given, was a solution for it. Was this bolt? Let's see if we can get the focus. This bolt, the banjo bolt, it had where you could put in the bleeder right there. But right here, we are very space limited because the rim is right here, that this will not work. It's too big. And then if we were to cut it down, we still have a hole in the top of it. So we did some driving around and luckily found one of the local car shops had...
So Riley's Auto Parts, in case you have them in your area.
Yeah. An M10x1 threaded banjo bolt, which is with a bit smaller head. We still need to grind it down a bit because it's still hitting the wheel, but focus. So it's got plenty of meat here on the head that we should be able to grind it down and still be able to get a wrench on it. So we are going to do some grinding now. All right, so here's how much we had to grind this bolt down to clear Brandon's rim, and it's still very close.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to take it off and actually get it back on. I think I'm gonna have to figure something else out. Maybe, I don't know if they make any other aftermarket ones of these with like a smaller knuckle here. Definitely worth looking into, but got to make sure it clears. So we actually ground it down, and then when I tightened it, my grind, I don't know if you see it, tapers on this back edge now instead of the front edge. So whatever, it is what it is. It's gonna work. It clears, and it's not going anywhere, so we're good to go.
Just wanted to point that out to you because I've heard from a couple other people that they've had to grind this banjo bolt down just to get to clear the rim. So just an FYI. All right, so now the whole brake assembly is on here. We're ready to go. We are ready to slap our wheels back on here. Since these are not getting put on the bike right now, this is our brake line's just gonna go to here for now. And then we'll route them up to our controls when we get his bike down here and get this one back on my bike. So we get the wheel put on there, and then I will put my brake line on there as well. All right, so now Brandon and I will be able to be skidding around like kids on their BMX bikes.
Heck yeah.
With these rear disc brakes. Again, pretty simple install. Just you got to make sure you pay attention to the little details, otherwise you're gonna mess stuff up.
Yeah, be careful. But go slow. You know, it's not something. It's not a marathon. Make sure you're getting in there and you're checking your clearances, and you're looking for all the things that could potentially go wrong. I mean, it's just important safety. I mean, this whole back tire, if it goes, so do you. So
yeah.
Be careful.
Yep. And so yeah, these engines should be about ready to be thrown back on the bikes now. I think we got a couple of... Are we doing anodizing before we put your bike on?
We're doing anodizing before we put my bike on. We got some other stuff. I mean, there's even some stuff here that we might take off and look at. But
yeah,
anodizing project coming up. I know we're going to film it this time, which would be really cool. So
yeah, a couple of people said they wanted to see the anodizing video again. So we'll be doing another video with that. And then that will be the last couple of touches for both of our bikes.
Yep.
And then we can get them slapped back together. So.
And then we'll get them dialed in.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for the anodizing video. Will probably be the next one. And then the assembly of the bikes again will be after that, so we can actually get these things up and running, make sure our brakes work, make sure the 171 kit works, and then tuning. And so that's where we're at right now. And so yeah, if you guys are interested in seeing that, the rest of these steps coming up, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. If you like Brandon, give him a like. If you don't, still give us a like.
Give us a like anyway. It's just me. I'm not here all the time.
And if you got something to say, just leave us a comment. And with that, we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Later, guys.
See ya. Cheddar.
Whee!